Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Heavenly Parent Holder Community, Oceania Hunoke. And today we have Silvana Daly, and today is Saturday, the 22nd of January, or the 20th of December in the 9th year of Chongwokuk. So let's begin by offering a bow to our Heavenly Parent and True Parents. Chariot, Kyombe. Haro. And let's recite our family pledge, both in Korean and English. Thank you.
가전맨세 1. 전국 주인 우리 가족은 참사랑을 중심하고 본연 땅을 찾아 본연의 창조 이사인 지산천국과 전산천국을 창건할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family pledge number 1. Our family, the owner of Chongwokuk, pledges to seek our original homeland and build the kingdom of God on earth and in heaven, the original ideal of creation, by centering on true love. Thank you. I'd like to ask Tim Sisserson if you could offer the opening prayer, please.
Good morning, our most loving Heavenly Parent. We are so grateful, Heavenly Parent, that we have been called by you and our true parents, that we have been shown the true way of life, and that through this, through attending our true parents, we have received so much blessing and grace. The next step, Heavenly Parent, for us really is to go beyond our appreciating your grace and really knowing that as long as your children are suffering, you are suffering with us, Heavenly Parent, and you want to liberate everyone. So I pray that I can really feel every day that you are longing to reach out to your children, and that it is up to us. There's still relative handful of us. Our true mother is longing so much and so desperate for us to bring an end to this fallen world by starting with the reunification of North and South, centered on goodness, centered on you, Heavenly Parent. So we want to really cultivate this awareness and this heart to long to liberate you and liberate your sons and daughters. Please be with us and guide us this day. We sincerely offer this report in the name of Sisserson and all Blessed Central families present. Aju.
Aju. Thank you. And let's give a warm welcome to Silvana as he shares this morning. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Reverend Yutaka, Reverend John, all leaders, brothers and sisters. I can't believe I did it, but I'm here. I'm going to share something with you. Towards the end of last year, Reverend Yutaka encouraged everybody to look back to the past year and to at least find the 10 top marvelous things that have happened during the year. And so I did. I actually did that exercise, and it was really beautiful, a beautiful, well, I call it exercise. It is a spiritual exercise because we never know how God works in our life until we look back and focus and think, how did God work in my life? And so, obviously, these 10 marvelous things that are marvelous to me may be nothing to you, and maybe you may think, what's the big deal? But that's my testimony, and that's what I experienced, and that's how God worked in my life. And I could summarize the 10 points into just one. Just one incredible thing happened last year. It's not working, Reverend John. Reverend John, I can't. It doesn't.
Just,
The PowerPoint isn't working.
yeah. Yeah.
It's okay. I don't need a PowerPoint. I can just speak without, but I don't know why it's not happening.
Yeah, you're just gonna make sure you get.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. The one real incredible good thing that happened was that the Oceania Morning Devotion started. And for this, I will be absolutely grateful, eternally grateful to Reverend Yutaka and Reverend John and everybody who, and all of you who make this experience possible. But before I get into it, I need to explain how my life was at the beginning of the year and all through last year, and how 2021 started. Basically, my life at the time was pretty much just work, 100% revolving around work. I was working full time, and then very often I was on call in after hours, all in the middle of the night. I was on call at weekends, so that even when I wasn't working, my brain wasn't, there was just absolutely no room for anything that is, yes, I was following the providence, so to speak. Of course, I was connected, but from a distance, everything, nothing touched me. I was just observing what was going on. That's from an external viewpoint. From an internal viewpoint, that was, well, a nightmare, because as you know, I am blessed with a brother who has turned the back against true parents. Well, he doesn't think he did, but exactly that's what he did. And he is basically devoting his life to what he believes he wants to do, is to destroy the image of true mother. So living in this situation has been so anyway, that's how I started the year, very much feeling very much hopeless about everything. So when the morning devotion started, so now I will list the 10 things if the PowerPoint works. Yes. So the first thing is that I joined the morning devotion. Of course, you may think that goes without saying, but no, it doesn't go without saying, because prior to this, I always got up very early because work, I would leave the house at 7 to go to work. So prior to this, my morning routine was all over the place. Sometimes I would do hundoke, sometimes I would go for a walk, sometimes I would sleep in, sometimes I would start work at 6 if staff were not there and I had to replace the staff. And sometimes I listened to Dr. Young morning devotions in the car on the way to work, but there was no real offering. There was no commitment. There was no dedication of my daily life to God. Even though I always read Father's words, but I would read whenever, whatever, if ever, like there was no routine. So even though when I joined the morning devotions, I never ever 100% attended the 40 days, each 40-day condition. I would occasionally skip one day for whatever reason. But even if I skipped a day, I knew, oh my God, tomorrow I'll be here. Somehow, I believe that by making that conditions, even I didn't see it at the time, I did not recognize the value of it. But I can see that it did count for something to God, and because things really changed through the year, many things changed for me for the better. So the second thing that happened, that's so during this first 40 days, there was an incredible spiritual activity all around me, all my ancestors. So some of you might know, but my father had been a prisoner of war from North Africa. He had been captured by the British, And after a period of captivity there in North Africa, he was then dispatched to Australia. And so he went to India, and then he arrived in Melbourne and then Brighton, in Brighton area in Tasmania. And he spent, I think, 3 or 4 years in, it's actually, now that's the point of this I'm making. When I came to Australia in 1997, as soon as we then got a computer and internet in the early 2000s, I searched so much for any record of my father staying in Australia, and I could not find anything. I found a lot about the POWs, the camps and everything, but nothing related to my father. And during the first 40-day morning devotions, one of my brothers in Italy found a link, find your nonno. And it was all in English, so he sent it to me and said, can you make something? Can you use this? Maybe this will help. Because in Italy, they rely on me because I'm here, so I'm the one that should find the details. And so I actually, when I connected to that website, I found 2 records. Unfortunately, you can't read, even I have to go very, very close on the computer to see the details, but I could actually read the whole thing. So there are two records that explains very clearly the dates of when he was imprisoned, when he was marched off Libya, I think, and he was marched into India, and then from there to Melbourne, and then from there. There is even a record of him being in detention. He'd been naughty. Maybe he had not, I'm thinking maybe he skipped curfew, because the prisoners of war in Australia, in Tasmania anyway, they were working in the farms. And actually, my father was really happy here in Australia, and he always spoke so highly about everything that he experienced here. But so the next thing that happened, I need to explain that my father, for a reason that is only known to him, really, I never thought about this when I was living together. So my father never ever spoke about his family. I personally knew some uncles when I was very young myself, and I remember a cousin that I spent about a week with when we were adolescent, very young adolescent, but he never spoke. I did not know until this last year, until this morning devotion started, I did not know the names of my grandparents. I knew my grandmother's surname. We used to call her Nonna Frau, but I didn't know her name. But in those 2 records, that I just show you, in one of them, the next of kin is my granddad, and then I found out his name is Luigi. And the other one, the next of kin, he chose his mother, and my nonna was Giovanna. And so I felt that the whole spiritual world was telling me, we are here, we want you to acknowledge us. Many other things were happening, but I can't get into all that because it's half an hour, right? But when I saw my grandfather's name is Luigi, I remember, oh, I actually have a cousin that's my age. So back in Sardinia, my cousin is still there. He never left the village as far as I know. And so I traced my cousin on Facebook. So I was asking my siblings in Italy, why don't you find out what's happening to this family? They are our relatives. But none of my brothers or sisters were interested. They say, oh, we already have our life. Why going into the past? But for me, it was so important because all my relatives have been blessed, liberated and blessed, and still I don't know their names. It's quite something. Anyway, I found my cousin on Facebook, and through him, then I got pictures of my grandparents. For the first time at the age of 68, I found out my grandfather. By the way, these pictures are not from the 1800s. The picture of my grandmother here to the right, this is the 60s, because this is my cousin and we are same age, the little boy sitting there. But that's Sardinia for you, very, very like 1800s. Anyway, so I found out something that I never knew. So my grandfather was a caretaker, and I think that's why my dad was embarrassed to speak about. They were extremely poor. And in Italy, for some reason, I remember when I was a child, that we didn't consider being a caretaker a highly, like a reputable activity to do for some reason. I don't know why. But I also found out that my grandmother was born blind, completely blind. The lady in the middle with covered. Her dress is typical of that age. My other grandmother was always ever dressed like that. But my maternal grandmother could not see at all from birth, and yet she had 4 children in the early century. I have no idea. I think she was a very strong woman. But anyway, during this time, I really, something else happened, which I shared quite recently. Sorry if I repeat myself. One time during the hundoke, I fell asleep. I was so tired. I fell asleep on the couch. And when I woke up when Reverend John was saying, okay, bye. Everybody was greeting each other. I was so embarrassed. But at first I thought, oh, well, I'm tired. Of course, I'm falling asleep. I'm tired. But then I got really chastised by the spiritual world. This very strong internal voice told me, if you don't attend the hundoke, we can't either. We need you to be there. So that was all happening during the first 40 days. This was number 3. Number 4. Nothing to do now with ancestors. This is my everyday life. As I explained, when this year started, and since 2017, I have been living in this very challenging situation, because my husband, well, I wasn't surprised when he joined, I don't even want to mention the name, but when he turned back to True Parents, I wasn't surprised because I had seen him going down, and anyway, there was no surprise there. But when he first told me that he did not believe in True Mother, being the only begotten daughter, that at first I was so, it threw me into confusion. I thought, what if he's right? What, like, I did not want to just stay where I was and keeping my status quo, just out of an emotional feeling, or because I love True Parents, because that's what we know. I was really confused at first, and I thought all I knew that I could do was pray like crazy. I certainly prayed like crazy at the time, but also I read Mother's words right from that particular time when True Mother was very boldly declaring, I'm the only begotten daughter. I went back a couple of years, and I read everything from trueparents.org. At the time, Mother never gave long speeches, but anyway, it took some time, but I read everything from True Mother, and also True Father speeches, particularly in 2012. And then the more I got into it, the more I read, the more I prayed, just my mind was absolutely clear. Because I think God gave us a heart and a brain, and both need to be satisfied all the time. You know, when it comes to truth, it needs to fit here and to fit here. And it did. So then I was very clear who True Mother is. But then the more I was becoming clear, the more my husband was becoming crazy, and just, anyway, I don't want to speak about him because he's not here to speak for himself. But the point is, I developed an incredible guilt. Sorry. Just an incredible guilt. Because I see that, I think when God looks at a couple, there isn't Peter here and Silvana there. There is, we are the third object to God. We are like one person. And so that became really, like eventually really just hit me. I felt an incredible failure as a wife, as a daughter of true parents. I could not support my husband when he needed. I felt everybody, we have needs, and if those needs are not fulfilled, that's when we go astray one way or the other. And it was my responsibility, it still is my responsibility as a wife to fulfill my husband's needs, those spiritual needs, whatever needs he had. I realized that was a total failure. And anyhow, so that's how I was, and I've been like that for a few years. At the time when my husband joined when he changed his mind, I was supporting Reverend Lim in running the local community, but bit by bit I lost all confidence, even to be seen in public. I wanted to hide wherever I went, and I couldn't do anything anymore. And even in 2021, I was supporting, I'm supporting Reverend Lim in the Chinese People Federation for World Peace. But at some stage, even then last year, I said to him, I'm sorry, I can't fit anything between work and this situation. I can't do anything. But then during the morning devotions, I believe because of the constant input of Father's words, because of the testimonies of brothers and sisters, because of the prayers, I believe that many people are praying for this situation, and I'm really, really grateful for that. Eventually, one day I realized that I've been so wrapped up in myself, and I made this whole thing about me, my failure, my guilt, whatever. But this situation is actually God's situation. This is actually nothing to do with me, whatever. That is not the main thing. The main thing is that this is what God is experiencing. This is what true parents are experiencing. And this is what true mother, absolutely true mother, is experiencing. However, true mother hasn't let whatever is happening bring it down the way it brought me down. True mother is just in total control. And so I realized that actually I needed to really use the situation to connect very deeply to the heart of true mother, and connect very deeply and comfort the heart of the true parents, and stop just thinking about myself and what they did to me and to our couple and to our family. Sorry. So I decided, well, he's spending every day trying to destroy the image of true mother. Not that he can, of course, but that's what his desire is. And so I bought some books of true mother, and I started witnessing. That is more quite recently, but I'll get to that. So anyhow, so that was number 4 for me, the biggest breakthrough, that I finally realized no matter how I feel, it's not about me only. And instead of being guilty is never from God, I knew that, but I couldn't shake this feeling off. I thought instead of being controlled by this, I need to be proactive and do what he is not doing, and being just very active in promoting who true mother is. That's all I can do, really. So on a lighter note, as all this was going on, as the year was going on, and as I told you, I didn't have any time for anything. Around August, I think, I started to feel a very strong pressure. Why am I still working so much? And I was shocked when I started to feel like that, because the word retirement had never entered my mind at all. I always thought I would work well into my 70s. As long as my health is there, as long as my brain functions, I will continue to work. But at some stage, I felt this very strong pressure that I didn't join the church to end up like this, just working, going home, sleeping, eating, back at work. And what the heck, we used to be full-time members. We've been missionaries, like that's, yeah. I thought for a few weeks, and I fought within myself for a few weeks. And then I realized I absolutely have to stop working because it's no longer justified. When I started working full time, the kids are very young, and my husband was studying. He wasn't working for many years. He was the one witnessing and doing the church work, so to speak. And but now they are financially independent. So why am I still doing this? So I decided that I should quit, but I still couldn't quit. And so every day I need to speak to my manager. I need to stop. But what's holding me back? And then when I reflected, yeah, what's holding me back is I don't want to lose the money. I thought, well, all my life, all our childhood, my life at home was very, very, very poor. And then in our blessed family life, I can't say we were poor, but we never had anything from one payday to the next. That was it. There was no savings. And whenever, until a few years ago, because my work situation changed and I earned better money, but that was only about 6-7 years ago. Prior to that, whenever the bills came, we always had to negotiate and pay them in installments. And it was just very tight. So the thought of going back there was really hard. And then I really felt my situation now at that time, this was about, by then it was September, I think. My situation at the time was just like when I first joined the church. I had to quit everything. And it was like jumping in the void, hoping that somebody would catch me at the other end. I just realized I'm just scared. And at this stage, I just need to trust God, because God has looked after us all our lives. Why would He stop looking after us if I stop working? And so quite in a very nervous state, I spoke with my manager, but as soon as I told her I will retire, then all doubts, fears, just everything just left me. I was absolutely liberated. Yeah, I felt this was the best decision ever. It came at the right time, and this is what God wants for me. And so that's the fifth marvelous thing that happened. I planned to retire from full time, at least. We don't actually have retirement money, but enough of that routine that was basically killing my spirit. And then, as soon as I offered my resignations, I contacted Reverend John and I said, I'm free. So I wrote here, I reconnected with public life. Not really, I'm not really doing much public life, but Reverend John was very nice and invited me for a chat, and he said, yeah, I need help with this and that. And so I've joined the staff. I'm laughing because, like I say, everybody's working so hard and really full-time committed members, but I'm not. But anyway, I'm helping whenever I can. And that was a blessing. That is really what I wanted. I wanted it to feel free to, of course, we have to witness. That is a mandated mission. We don't need to ask anybody, but I also always wanted it to help more directly in every way I can. If I have any skills, I can use them, I thought. And so Reverend John was very kind and said, yeah, join the team. So thank you for that. Yeah, and then we applied for the pension. And when the first allowance from Centrelink came, it really hit me. Wow, we actually can't survive on this on this pension, because we don't, like I say, we were not earning, we don't have savings. We have some super, but it's not much. And so I thought, it was always in the books that I would look for some casual job, but I was quite enjoying not working. And I had altogether, I had 2 months break, which was really good and necessary for me to do. But in the Christmas week, I woke up on the Tuesday and I thought, today is the day. Today I will apply for work. And it's quite, it took me all day. I had not made a resume, and so I was working for 14 years in the same place, for 12 years in the same place, so no resume. And I created the cover letters. So my dream job was no more than 2 days a week, or at least 20 hours, that's it, casual. So I can, if something happens, I can just say I can't work. And not night shifts, not weekend work. And I worked as a youth worker for the last 14 years and in a crisis accommodation center. So that's my experience. But I thought enough of youth, no offense to any youth, enough, I've done that for so long. I actually like to work with women who are escaping abusive relationships. I also studied in the last few years. I had this desire, if I ever change direction, that's where I want to go. I want to help women, to build their life, to rebuild themselves, whatever. And so I applied for 3 jobs on that Tuesday. On Wednesday, a lady called me, asked me if I wanted to join an interview for the next day. So the next day I had an interview, and the day after, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, no, on Christmas Eve, she called me and said, "You got the job." And I thought how God was always there. Just everything was prepared for me. Everything was prepared. And so I only started this week, but the job was given at the time. So it's still part of the 2021 Marvellous things. And then this is a little something that happened to me that really, am I good with time, Reverend John?
Yeah, you're okay, not a problem. Just keep going.
I can't see, I don't have a clock here. Anyway, I'm number 8 now, so get into number 10. In 2019, I have a record on my text messages. So it was May 2019, because I was always working and I could never do any outreach. So I decided at the time, anyway, I went shopping and I befriended the lady in the daily compartment. And then she said, "Oh, you're doing shopping at 7 in the morning." I said, "Yeah, I'm going to work. What do you do?" "I'm a youth worker." She had a teenage boy. And so we spoke a few times, and we determined to meet and have a coffee, and we never did. She never responded to, every time I texted, she had a reason why she couldn't meet. You know how it happens. And so I gave up. And then on that Christmas week, I had done all my Christmas shopping, everything was done. But then I needed some wrapping paper, some more wrapping paper. And so I went to Woolworth, and when I entered the shop, I thought, oh, I could do with some feta for the salad. And I went to the daily compartment, and there she was. I had not seen her for more than a year. I thought I forgot about her, basically. I certainly didn't even remember her name. It was good she had the little name here in the uniform. But when she saw me, she lit up and said, "Oh my goodness, you come to see me." And she came to the other side of the counter and she hugged me. And I thought, oh my God, she thinks I'm somebody else. Anyhow, I didn't say anything. So we are, how have you been, and what crazy times we're living in, the COVID times. And then anyhow, she went back to her behind. But when we parted, she said to me, "We have to get that coffee this time, Silvana." And I thought, oh my God, she knows exactly. And I didn't even remember her name. anyhow, and now we are in contact. After that, she had to go in isolation. I got COVID. So now we are talking by text again. But the point is whether I will manage to witness to this lady, whether the point is it really motivated me to look around and to just make effort. So I've been giving some mother's books now, and I start to feel better about myself. Something else happened. Reverend Yutaka asked a few weeks ago, have you read all the 8 textbooks, holy textbook? And I was not on camera, thank God, because I felt shrinking. I actually, obviously some books like the Divine Principle we've read through and through many times, some speeches, but the Chonson Kyon and all the other books, not from cover to cover, I haven't. And so as soon as he said that, I thought, well, no use crying now that I haven't done it. So now I have been reading one speech every day. And I read it through the day, not all in one go, because I need to digest the content. And it's been quite an incredible experience, because I realize even attending morning service, actually for me, is not enough. The life is very busy, and now I will start to work. It will get busy, even though it's not much work. It's a few hours a week. But it is good to constantly have Father's words to direct the emotions, direct the thoughts, just direct my life. Yeah, it's been. I won't go back. This is not a condition as such. It's just something I'm doing. I've now read more than 35 speeches. So Reverend Yutaka would have mentioned that sometime before that. And then last but definitely not least, I want to share, when I was, towards the end of last year, I was doing this exercise, what happened this year. I wasn't thinking about Humdok at the time at all. I was just wanting to do what Reverend Yutaka asked us to do. And because it is good at the end of the year to look back and understand how God worked and be grateful for things. And I couldn't think of what is my 10th thing. And then I remember this dream. And when I had this dream, which was an incredible dream, and I shared it at Humdoke, I remember at the time, but the next day I forgot about it because of the way I was. And so I want to share now, if I have time, very quickly, and then that's I'm finished. Oh, sorry. So this dream was like in 3. It was like a movie divided in 3 distinct scenes. The first one, I was in my house. I was alone, but my house was made of glass. And True Mother was on the other side. She was cleaning my house. She was on a ladder and she was cleaning the windows, and she was going with an incredible energy and looking radiant and happy and 100% devoted to clean my house. And then she came down from the ladder and ran like a dart, not like you, just ran towards a group of men. You know, they were all with a suit. We would call them VIPs. So she went out to reach out to these men. And the third scene, I was sitting in this beautiful white wooden chair surrounded by members. And somebody came to me and told me, True Mother is coming. True Mother is really tired. Would you give her your chair? Of course I gave her. So I got up to give True Mother the chair. And I don't think that was the end of the dream, as far as I remember. But this time when I was reflecting back, I just couldn't believe that I had forgotten how much True Mother is taking responsibility and making conditions. True Mother is already covering up for whatever situation is happening in our family. She is cleaning, she is doing what I should be doing, but she is doing it. And And then I realized by offering my child to True Mother that that's exactly what I need to do, take on some of the work, comfort True Mother, work together with Mother, and leave the past behind and see where everything goes from now on. I cannot look at the future. So that was my testimony. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Silvana. Thank you for sharing your 10 marvelous things with us.
I did it.
You did it. You did very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
To allow everyone, I'm going to create breakout rooms again, and so yeah, we can share. So I'll just do that now, and here we go. And then please join, and we'll share for a few minutes.
Oh, thank you, Silvana.
So I hope everyone had a chance to share together and to reflect on many great points that Silvana shared. I'm sure resonated with everyone. And I'll just share the screen and we can pray together and pray for each other. Thank you. Adieu, adieu, adieu. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining, and have a great day, and see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Silvana.
Thank you, Silvana.
Thank you,
God
Silvana. Your wonderful testimony.
Yeah.
Like us a lot. Truly, thank you so much.
Champion.
Thank you.
Okay, have a
Buongiorno.
blessed day, everyone.
Thank you too.
Buongiorno, Savannah.
Love you.
Talk to you soon, Jimmy.
Bye-bye.